Welcome to the Jamaica Funk Show with KT on Spreaker.com. Well, Good evening, guys. What's up? This is KT. And, hey, we're listening to the Jamaica Funk Show. Ain't that what we doing? Guys, listen, I'm going to tell you, it's Wednesday again, and it seems like this week is flying like it normally does. I'm so used to time going so fast that it's like it sometimes catches me by surprise. And y'all know what I mean, because it happens to all of us. But tonight we have a great show for you. Tonight I'm going to play a track of Dick Gregory talking about the assassination of Malcom X. So we're getting 2 in 1. We're getting the late, great Dick Gregory, who just passed away here. I believe it was August the 19th, 2017. So just a couple of months ago, he passed away. And he started off as a comedian and turned out to be an activist. He died as an activist, but he got famous as a comedian and grew into an activist and became famous at that. So we're going to be listening to Dick Gregory this evening, as well as we have some poetry and we got some sweet reggae music for you. I want to take a few minutes and send my prayers out to the people in California. Once again, I think they've gotten like 21 people who have died in these fires, in these brush fires that have just totally gotten out of control. They're so out of control that the firemen are no longer trying to put the fire out. They're just trying to rescue people to keep people from being injured or hurt. So they got several injured, but the death toll has risen to 21 people. So let's pray for them because they really need our prayers right now, and we'll find out whatever else we can do for them once this has come to they've gotten it under control. So God, please be with them. So having said all of that, I want you guys to sit back, relax, grab that last piece of jerk chicken and whatever it is that you're drinking, and let's get ready for some show enough. Mama, shut your mouth. Reggae music. Well, Irie Mon.
Hear me, Lord. Lord, my people wanna be free, just like the blind would like to see, but the harder the battle will be, the sweeter the victory. Give us faith to face another day. Guide us in and out along the narrow way. Give us strength, dear Lord, I pray, that we shall overcome someday. All right, Lord, give an helping hand to each and every one. We do all the work each and every day, and still for all we get no pay. But I know
Girl, you're so fine. Think we really need to spend more time. See it clear, cause I love you, you're not blind. If it was a felony, me charge for the crime. Girl, don't play with my mind. I will be there, will never treat you unkindly. I'm yours, so girl, just be mine. Tell you, say me love you from a long, long time. Yeah.
You say you love me, no, I love you more. When you say you need me, no, I need you more. Boy, I adore you. Boy, I adore you.
Yeah, baby girl, from the start you have a place in my heart. Up in my mind, soul, body in my thought. You know that this is real from the beginning, we never depart. Solid cause we never fall short. Baby, you adore me, I adore you. Whatever the case is, you know I will be there for you. And I will never ignore you. Girl, just remember what I'm
Someday, I know that we're gonna move from here to our own place. I believe that we are gonna make it through God's grace. I'm not saying it's gonna be easy, baby, but have a little faith, 'cause I'll never leave you. No, I will be there every time you close your eyes. I will be there. I'll wake up by your side like your shadow. I will stick by you, and I'll always be around. I'm gonna stick by you.
Girl, take a minute and catch your breath. And I'll take that minute to wipe my sweat. It's only the beginning, we ain't halfway yet. If you think that you can handle me, place your bet. You're gonna lose, and all your treasure will be mine for sure. My love's a cruise to a place you've never been before. Ooh, the prize is satisfaction guaranteed when you choose to give yourself to me. I do love to make sweet, 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 sweet love to you.
I tell them reggae make you rock, rock, rock. Reggae make you rock so much. I say rubber, dub. Reggae make you rock so much. Having fun this time around. To the sweet, sweet reggae sound. Smiling faces, no see, no frown. The music gets you high way off the ground. Yeah. Feel the vibe when everybody gather round. Woy-oy. Select that string it up, we want to hear the sound. Woy-oy. See man and woman, them a rock. Everybody feel a vibe, nobody a no dead stock. No pain when music hits, Robert Nesta said that. So pull up that one you from top. That one your name reggae. say rubber, rubber, dub, rubber, dub,
Alongside my
dub,
queen.
dub. Reggae make you
Lord,
dance up.
I feel like skank. Lord, skank to the reggae music. Lord, I feel like grooving. Lord, groove to the reggae music. Lord, come on and skank with me, baby. Lord, gonna make you mine if it takes all night. Lord, spend some time with me, lady. Let me love you till you can't take no more. Lord. Alright, go make we take on the dance floor. Money in me pocket and pretty girl I roll. Rubber dopey till a man in sweat a bust through me pores. Liquor on table, I grate the smoke. The permit say two, but we just now go home. Check it up, select that this I wanna eat moon. Rastaman in the corner we teach a listen my load. And the youths them step out of pop sport. I feel like skank. Lord. Skank to the reggae music. Give her your walk, give her your walk propaganda. I no need you for nine man veranda. Yeah. Leave people business alone. Hey, beg you a walk propaganda. I no want it for nine man veranda. Yeah. Leave people business alone. Yes. I know you don't know the fullness, yet you come and stir up and snares. You ready now to tell me lies, ready for subtract and multiply. Someone told you the story, and yet you act as if you were there. I don't want you around me, just act like you don't know me. Yeah. Beg you a walk propaganda. I don't need you for nine man veranda. Yes. Leave people business alone. Hey, beg you a walk propaganda. I no want it for nine man veranda. Yeah. Leave people business alone.
You're listening to the Jamaica Funk Show with KT. Well, Irie Mon.
Guys, I'm going to give you some poetry tonight. We're going to do Black History, White Privilege, or should I say White Privilege, Black History, by Miss Johanna Bright. Well, Irie Mon.
White privilege, black history. This is my problem with all these fabulous, amazing, and wonderful protests and gatherings. All the nations that have come together to help the indigenous people to keep big corporations from drilling for oil on their native land and sacred burial grounds. I mean, we want to keep them from destroying the ecosystem for what could possibly be 100 generations. It's so amazing how every nation came together again and protested in every airport in the country, and how ride-sharing came to a halt. The workers just refused to work, and the CEO of the company, he donated $1 million to the cause. And just thinking about the unfathomable amount of human beings around the world that came together for the Women's March, it blows me away. Even the press and all the mass media are in one accord against the Orange administration because their integrity is in question, as if it wasn't before. Every person I know has an opinion of outrage and disgust, everyone agreeing to that moral outrage because of the actions of the current administration. See, I can call them that at least. But what about us, the disenfranchised black people of this country? We who protested and cried out for help when Trayvon and Michael and Eric and dozens more black men were murdered in their own neighborhoods through the abuse of authority in the police force in this country. Where was the moral outrage of all the nations in this country then? Where were the veterans and the women's rights groups and the Muslims and the immigrants who are being rounded up and told they have to leave now? Where are the Mexicans who are looking at a possible wall built to keep them out of this country? I want to laugh at that, but I won't. Where are the indigenous people? All 60 nations. I'm what's left of 500 that originally lived on the eastern seaboard of this country. The press was there because there was a story to be told and sold to get shares on the market. Where were the judges and politicians making stands and speeches and proclamations, overturning unjust and poor decisions, demanding investigations into each and every one of the officers involved, changing the laws? They have that authority. You looked at us as we marched and yelled in righteous indignation, crying out for justice, begging to be seen and heard by deaf ears. There was a dead silence for many of our non-black communities. And while I really do understand that many of you do agree that the treatment of my people has been deplorable, disgusting, and inhumane, why didn't you come out in droves and become that protective shield that everyone else has with your white privilege? You know, if you all just showed up, that protest would have went differently. But you didn't. Black history tells the truth. Black Lives Matter, the social activism group, has been petitioned to the Senate to be designated as a terrorist group. Whom did we terrorize? When was your way of life in jeopardy? Were you afraid we would march right up to your doorstep and shine a light on your white privilege? Did you think that the financial value of your home would decrease if you showed up? Did you think that your precious children, and they are, will see the evil underbelly of racism that is the beast that devours this country? Progressives, liberals, Democrats, Republicans, you all say all lives matter. And they do. Mine just matters less than yours. And if you think I'm blowing smoke up your ass or whining, there's your proof right there about how you really feel. Come out from behind your doors and windows. Stop using your children as an excuse for not showing up. We know it's a dangerous undertaking to stand side by side with us. We know because we are that underbelly of hatred. We are the disenfranchised. I know you're afraid that the police will not see your white privilege and shoot you too. But this is what we face every day. Do I have to remind you of the bodies hung on trees, metaphorically called strange fruit? We're that strange fruit. Do I have to continue to draw your attention to the young black men burned on a cross and laid on a heap of smoldering wood while white privilege stands around gawking at him, proud of what they've done? Do I have to show you Philip Castile dying from a gunshot wound on social media video from a police officer who saw him as a threat to society and not a father of the child in the back seat or the wife of the mother in the front seat behind the wheel, begging him to stay alive through the mere virtue of his own will? He died anyway, and the wife was handcuffed, the child taken, temporarily. However, we are called terrorists, and you buy into it. Why? What terrors in the night have we brought upon you? Do you lay awake at night thinking, I could just join that march, it would have made a difference? But the police might not have seen my white privilege. All they may see is, what? Human beings standing for the rights of other human beings? You have the power to make the powers that be see me as a human being. You have the power to turn aside the tide of racism to love and acceptance of your fellow man. You used it on the righteous indignation you felt when immigrants were banned from our country. You used it when you heard a wall was being built to keep out our southern brothers from another mother. You felt it when the rights of women were being stepped on for the umpteenth time in the greatest march in the history of protests. But when we get together to protest the hypocrisy of our government, the unjust treatment of our people, the genocide of a nation, you go stone cold silent. We continue to cry out for help for all the unjust, discriminatory, and outright hateful actions against us. And you know that they are. But you won't stand with us.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a track of Dick Gregory talking about the assassination of Brother Malcom X.
Brother Malcolm, I think about this that he died, I was working Basin Street East. Said, Brother Greg, you coming by today? And I said, Malcolm, I love you. And I said, I love you so much, I don't even want to take a chance to be there. He said, what do you mean, Brother Greg? I said, well, I closed tonight, Sunday night at Basin Street East. And I said, but I had my wife book me a flight into Chicago at 8 o'clock this morning. And I'm going to Chicago, and I had way beneath my salary booked me into a college about 10 miles from the airport. And I'm going to go there and speak this afternoon, and I'm going to stay there until they tell me you did. I'm not going to let this government get two of us for the price of one. And I'm going to call Adam Clayton Powell when I finish talking to you and beg him not to come there. Because today, the United States government going to get you. And I'm not going to be there. I love you. I don't even want to take a chance of my heart changing. So I went to Chicago. And when they came and they told me Malcolm's been killed, I got back on the plane and came back here. Malcolm was killed because of another brother named DePinto. A lot of people thought he was African, but he was East Indian. He was born in Nairobi. He's the one that changed Malcolm's head from black nationalist to Pan-Africanism and made that connection from here to there. And the government said, we can't let this happen. He's the one that persuaded Malcolm when he went to Africa and stayed 7 weeks and met with all the real leaders. And then he's the one that discussed with Malcolm of bringing racism to the doorsteps of the UN. And as Malcolm was being shot dead in New York City, DePinto was being gunned down in Nairobi. All right. Same time. All right. Same time. So don't tell me about no black Muslims. The same time, Malcolm was being gunned down. Now, let me finish this by saying this. Now, let me show you how this white racist system treats black folks. The black folks that they got to kill Malcolm was standing on the stage like I am. They threw a smoke bomb in the back. When everybody got to watch the commotion, the brothers ran up with double-barrel shotguns and shot him. But under the Freedom of Information Act, we were able to get the autopsy of Malcolm, and all the bullets in Malcolm is going down. Now, I can't stand on this stage and y'all down there pointing up, which means the government has such a low view of those black folks that would do it. They didn't even give them real bullets. They gave them blanks. Malcolm was shot from the ceiling top. And also under the Freedom of Information, the CIA have been forced to admit that they rented the Oliver Ballroom a week before. And that's when they went in there and tore them walls out and put them guns in the wall and shot him from a downward projection. That's what this game is about. But Malcolm lived a good life. The movie did not portray that. The movie was an insult. I mean, here my man get killed, ain't got no insurance, no money. Then he pregnant with twins, got 4 kids, and then have 2 more, and then go ahead and raise them and go on and get her a doctor's degree. And in that old heathen movie, they ain't got room in that to tell me about what they did. Fucking show Malcolm snorting coke and having sex with a white woman in a car. This is a black person that did that. And then show Malcolm putting his head in a toilet. Now that's in the book, page 122. Malcolm has never put his head in a toilet. So that shows up in the book. The conspiracy goes all the way back to Alex, who didn't write Malcolm, nor did he write Brooks. A white boy, the senior editor of Playboy magazine, Murray Fisher, wrote both them books. And as we stand here now, them 2 books makes about $7 to $8 million royalty right now every year. Then how come when Alex died, they had to auction off his stuff to pay off his bills? How come they didn't attach his royalties? Because he don't get no royalties.
This has been Dick Gregory on the assassination
of Malcom X. This recording was published May 19, 2017 on YouTube. You can find this and other information at www.patreon.com/Brother Ben X. Well, Irie Mon.
Shook all over the place. I say, come on, baby, when the music's playing, I wanna see you dance, dance, dance. Come on, baby, say when the music's playing, I wanna see you dance. Get up and dance, move yeah, move yeah. I said, come on, baby, let me show you what I make you do. I said, music, oh.
Hi, this is KT. Did you know that the Jamaica Funk Show comes on 3 nights a week? Tuesdays, where we interview ordinary people doing extraordinary things in their life and or their community at 8:15 p.m. Central Standard Time. And Wednesdays for Black History Wednesday, where we share an extraordinary story of a person of color's life. 9:15 p.m. Central Standard Time, and on Thursdays for Reggae Dance Hall Party with a touch of soul. So listen in on Spreaker.com/Jamaica Funk Show or iHeartRadio and search Jamaica Funk Show. Well, Irie Mon.
Bored of our act all nonchalant in front of an audience like you was just another shorty. I put the naughty on, but truth be told, you threw me for a loop this whole. I'm too old to be frontin' what I'm feeling. Denzel and acting like you ain't appealing when you are. Stuntin' like you ain't my only girl when you are. I'm ready to stop when you are.
Jay-Z, Marshall, Cartel, and Pharrell for real. Rockaware, apparel for real. Girlfriend, your friends and you full up a sex appeal. You have the best fur, texture feel. Now listen, Kim, Karen, Nicole, or Cecile. Come in love for you in time will reveal. Me, I gonna make you wear a ring like Shaquille O'Neal. Keep it real with me and I'll keep it real, you know. Don't be fooled by my glitter and my fame, girl. Cause it's you that I really wanna share my name, yeah. My name, yo, hey. A lot of girls come and go with the hype, but to me you mean more than just one night. One night, yo, forever. One night. One night.
I know that I'm carrying on, never mind if I'm showing off. I was just fronting. You know I want you, babe. I'm ready to bet it on, unless you don't care at all. But you know I want you.
Need you.
You should stop fronting, babe.
Listen, and you will hear wedding bells in my ear. Reception in Spain, honeymoon in Zaire. Me need you to breed by the end of this year. Oh, for you, girl, for me, brighten my world for me. This isn't comedy like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Serious when me tell you some love and me care. True, and if you're willing for share, double king size bed there with the linen for tear. Don't be fooled by my glitter and my fame, girl. Cause it's you that I really wanna share my name, yeah. My name, yo, hey. A lot of girls come and go with the hype, but to me you mean more than just one night. Forever, yo. Forever, forever. One night.
I know that I'm carrying on, never mind if I'm showing off.
But you,
I was just fronting. You know I want you, babe.
right away.
Ready to bet it on, unless you don't care at all. But you know I want you. You should stop fronting.
Watch the remix now.
Make me tell you something, I need you, mama. I did a really dumb thing to bring you drama. I was just fronting without the glamour. Rockaware, Sean John, Dolce Gabbana. I'm the real dog, are you me or not? Are you a make me think to call the wedding planner? And even if you see me with Dana, just remember there is no other. Wow!
Don't be fooled by my glitter and my fame, girl. Cause it's you that I really wanna share my name, yeah. My name, yo, hey. A lot of girls come and go with the hype, but to me you mean more than just one night, yo. One night.
I know that I'm carrying on, never mind if I'm showing off. I was just fronting. You know I want you, babe. I'm ready to bet it on, unless you don't care at all. But you know I want you. You should stop fronting, babe.
Oh,
Girl, I really never mean to front.
never meant.
I know you probably think I'm drunk, but I'm just being blunt. You know we don't play no stunts.
Straight up.
I really never mean to front. I know you probably feel I'm drunk, but I'm just being blunt.
Believe me,
You know we don't play no stunts.
I need you in my life.
So listen, guys. Hey, time has gone so quickly this evening. You know, when you think you got a few minutes, you really find out you really ain't got a few minutes, but you thought you did. So I just want to say thank you for joining us this evening. You know, without you, there is no Jamaica Funk Show. So I so appreciate you coming and listening to us. Don't forget to come back tomorrow for Reggae Dance Hall Party with a touch of soul. And until then, may God bless you. And, well, Irie Mon.
That you call, that you let your belly roll. When you come a dance, must make no fuss or fight. You must make the nice vibes right. No need to fuss, no need to fight. If you deal with war, backward stay far. We're dealing with truths and rights. Come some more into my side. Who no hear me yet, hear me live and direct. Walk with your tape and your cassette. Who no hear me yet, who no hear me yet, hear me live and direct. Walk with your tape and your cassette. 'Cause the vibes is right. Yes, the vibes is nice. So nice, so nice, so nice, so nice, yeah, yeah. When we go a dance, we don't make no one. We stay all night long. Listen, how long we stay for? People, listen to me now. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, rock. Never stop rock this rhythm I love. 'Cause the vibe is right. And we don't want no fuss nor fight. No, 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 no. In the dance, the vibe must be right. Have to be, have to be, have to be. But 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, rock. Never stop rock this rhythm I love. I love.
Last night before I lay, I stopped and think of you. Somewhere in the darkness, somewhere, yeah, I smell your sweet perfume. So I slipped across the room and found that you were not standing there. It was just my imagination running away with me. Somewhere in the darkness, somewhere, I smell your sweet perfume. So I slipped across the room and found that you were not standing there. But you are living in my memories. And woman, won't you just stop haunting me? Won't you rid me of this pain, Lord? I need your love and your serenity. So woman, won't you come and rescue me? 'Cause my life is not the same.